no data past August, you would have gotten nothing. So one thing you want to do is right off the bat, set up a value for the start date. So right now my start date, oh, I don't know why it's doing this like this. It really should be showing as a value. Oh no, I don't want this thing. As I said again, I want to take the value. Oh, come on, why can't I click on it? Right there and say, hey, I want 2024, January 1st, let's say. And now, okay, it did it. It said it, and if I go now to this guy, you see it does this. That way, look at one thing real quick. If I run this and I'm debugging, I don't want to be wasting time. I want to go to my breakpoint. I can just hit enter. It brings this up, and if I had a file already set, I could just hit enter. So that's another thing that says to us, hey, we're almost done. We have this part there, but I need to make sure that my open file dialog now is set up properly. We have the load ticker. It's tab index 0, so that's the thing that will respond right away when I hit enter. Let's try to make the same thing happen with the open file dialog. And we're going to go to the properties of the open file dialog, and now let's look at a couple of things. The nice thing is, when you look at your properties, everything that is in bold are the properties that you changed. Everything else is the default values. So when you change things, if you kind of get lost, you just have to look and say, ooh, so far I've only changed a couple of things, which is the open file dialog over here, the ticker, although I don't remember changing that one. But let's do a couple of things. What this thing will do, it will open the open file dialog. So one of the things you want to make sure of is that when it comes up in the right folder. Okay? If not, it'll come up in some folder. You'll just have to navigate. Another thing that you don't want to have to do, waste time navigating to the right folder. Although, another thing you would have noticed is that, yeah, the first time you would have had to navigate to your folder, but after that it will remember and it will get straight to that. But for now, we're going to take care of this. So now the question I have for you, over there in front of me in pink, is this the code we're looking at that you're doing on that laptop? Okay, excellent. You helping her understand what's going on? Now, if you do have a question, feel free to ask also. Yeah. Okie doke. So right now, I'm going to go to my stuff, and let's say my data here, my stock data, for me, is in this folder. So I can grab this, Control-C to copy it, and now when I go back to Visual Studio, I can say the following thing. I can go down, and there is something that says initial directory. I give you time to take a look, find it. In initial directory, I paste that. So that tells the open file dialog, when you come up, that's the folder you want to go to, directory, okay? So right now, and in fact, while you're catching up, I can run this real quickly. Okay, here it is. I say load ticker, and boom, it's right there already in my stock data folder because I told it that's the initial directory. Okay, you should have that by now, or take notes saying, yeah, I got to fill this thing in. Another thing, yes.
Will that cause a problem when we ship it to the grader?
Yes and no. When the TA tries to do that, your code is going to try to go to a non-existent folder. And although there's ways to fix all that, but in any case, so it will open somewhere else. The TA will then change it, and then from that point on, because the TA will have their own stock data. Okay, from that point on, poof, it will go there. So when she goes to the next student to grade and runs their application, it will open in the right place. So don't worry about it. Okay, one of the things that we also want is to have the file name. Well, the file name is where, or it's what file was selected, but it's also, you can have it pre-selected. So in our case, I could say, hey, I want aal-month.csv, but I do have such a file, I do believe. If I click on that and I look at my data, well, I'll do Apple. I think you guys have Apple. So I don't need to run this anymore, I want to make sure. So AAPL. So I'm telling it, by the way, not only do I want you to go to this particular folder, but I also would like you to have this file already pre-selected, okay? What else do we want? Oh, what default extension? Hey, what extension do I want you to show? I want to show the CSV extension, okay? So I just say my default extension is CSV. I hit enter. And by the way, if you get lost, remember the stuff that we change is the stuff in bold. So you know, oh yeah, I need to make sure I have the proper name. I want to use the default extension of CSV. I would like to have this particular file pre-chosen. Pick any file that you have available. And I want to also specify the folder, the initial folder that I want to be in. Yes, there was a hand up.
Would it work if it was not capitalized?
Yeah, it would work because file names are
Universal.
case insensitive.
Okay.
So that's that. And we can actually see what that looks like because there'll be two more things we want to set. Okay, I do this, I hit enter, and here it is. It's got the file name in the bottom, AAPL-month, okay? And I think it might, yes.
What's the difference between default extension and filter?
What's the difference between the
Default extension and filter.
Oh, okay, filter, we're gonna, you said filter?
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna take care of filter in a second. Now, if you look again, you see the aspect, you see what this thing looks like, this file dialog, okay? And by the way, here there is something, ooh, it's got some extra stuff in, oh yeah, okay, that's the full path name. Okay, let me check something real quick. I just want to show you this. Two more things, read only, checked, and show read only. If I say, yeah, I'm gonna have this, it's gonna be, my files are gonna be read only, and I also want to show that it's only read only, look at what happened, what this thing looks like now. I hit enter. It looks a little different, doesn't it? Okay? And look at how now it says open as read only. Okay, and so it's just extra information so that if you have an application, it can see that and say, ooh, I'd rather not try to delete the file or to modify anything. But now all the information is there. Okay, let's go to the filter part. Do you notice how now it says files of type and there's really no extra information here? Okay, we'll see that in a second. And we also have over here all of our files. We have the daily, the monthly, the weekly for every stock. Okay, well, you may not always want to see everything like this. You might say, today I'm working with just the monthly files. So, and by the way, if you weren't paying attention and you didn't see what we did to make it look like this, you would have an issue because now your stuff looks a little different. All right, okay, so let's go to the issue of filter. I'm going to take care of that first. He asked the question. The filter is a way to specify which files you want it to show you, okay? So you have to know your regular expressions for file selection, you know, like star, things like that. So here's how it works. You can have as many filters as you want. So let's put a few. You might say, yeah, I want to see all the files. So the filter is composed of two parts. One part is the human readable thing. So I'm going to say, for the human, I want to say all, simply saying to the human, hey, this will show you all the files. I could type all the files. I could say, this filter option will show you all the files. Anything I want to write for the human, I can put. I just say all. Then you have to say, well, what does that correspond to for the machine? What's the regular expression? And you separate it with a pipe, the pipe symbol, okay? That's over the slash on your keyboard. So I have all, I put a pipe symbol, and now the regular expression, well, all of my files will be on the star.csv. Do you agree? Mm-hmm. Star CSV should show all the CSV files and only those. Then you say, but I also want to see just the monthly, let's say. So another pipe, and now you're gonna do it again. There's always two components. One is say, okay, I wanna show you the month. And then what's the regular expression? Well, that's why I said, go take a look at the file, see how they're named. That would be anything of the form star-month.csv. Do you agree?
Yeah.
You can't agree if you did not look at the file because you have no clue of how the files are named if you did not go look. Next, I want to see all the weekly files. So I'm going to tell the human for week data, pipe, star dash week dot CSV. Then I want to do another one, day, okay? One thing, if you get to this point like me, don't get out, keep typing, because if you don't do it right, it erases everything, you gotta start all over again. So day, type, star dash day dot CSV. I hit enter, and if you want to take a look at it, picture, whatever, this is what my filters look like, okay? The human readable part and the associated regular expression. The next human readable part, its regular expression. The next human part, its regular expression. And I could add more, okay? Suppose I was interested in only stocks that start with A. Start with A. That's what the human will be. Type star, well, if it starts with A, it would be A star dot CSV. Do you agree that that would be any file that starts with A? You could put a filter like that, okay? Then what you want to do after you specify the filter, it will say, okay, you've got all these filters. When I come up, which one do you want to be the active one? Do you want number 1, it starts with 1, or number 2, or number 3, or number 4, or the last one? I say, oh, let's say I want the, well, just for the fun of it, let's say we wanted the last one, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, number 5. I'd say start with filter 5. Okay, let's see what happens when I do that. I can run this thing. I hit enter.